I was just listening to Joe Rogan Experience number 1787 with Dakota Meyer, and he's I think he's a Marine vet that went to Afghanistan. He's talked about how he killed people over there, and he and Joe, I mean, Joe's just swooning all over him, like, oh, I just have so much respect for the military and for cops. And Dakota's like, man, cops deserve way more respect than they get. And but Dakota, he said his problem was that everybody was coddling him and everybody was telling him that uh his experiences what what he's feeling are normal for his experiences, and it was just a cop out. So he had to get away from those people that were telling him, oh man, you can act like an asshole, you can, America owes you and all this. And it's okay because you went to Afghanistan and you served the United States and they owe you. And you know your trauma excuses your behavior. And then he goes straight into talking about police and how if a police officer comes onto a scene and he's being a little bit aggressive, uh, you gotta consider what the cop went through. Maybe the cop's having a bad day. Maybe the cop just had an argument with his wife or something, and you got to take that into consideration. And that's a problem for cops, is that people don't think of them as people, and they don't consider that the cop might be having a bad day. Well, when you're a fucking cop, you don't have the option of having a bad day and just imposing your bullshit into a situation where obviously the people involved are also having a bad day and they didn't invite you. You're an unwanted participant in any situation you come up on if you're a police officer. And it's up to you as a police officer to consider that. And don't expect people to consider that you might be having a bad day. Too fucking bad. Go home. Take the fucking day off. Don't bring that to a situation where you already know that there's trouble. That's not an excuse. That is fucking bullshit. Just like the dude was saying about his military service and his PTSD. It's all real shit, but it's not an excuse like he said, but he's holding two completely opposing views in his mind at the same time. And he's talking about that he had to be held to a standard of personal responsibility and accountability in order to grow and take responsibility for his life and decisions. But then he's just the very same conversation, he's giving police the exact coddling fucking attitude that he's saying was bad for him and a lot of veterans. Um, it's sickening. It's sickening how people just uh, make excuses and live in this fucking pretend world. They're living in a pretend world uh, where they, they can just do whatever they want and say, "Oh, I'm just doing my job," or "I just had a bad day, and so you need to just forget about it." Well, when a cop comes up on a situation, he's not taking that into account most of the time. And Joe and the dude, I forget his name, they both they're both like, oh yeah, cops, they need to be, you know, basically coddled. They need to be, uh, you need to give them a little more credit than normal people. No, you fucking don't. And you need to hold them to a higher standard than normal people, because normal people have to face consequences whenever they do something that violates another person, and cops don't. Um, they can get away with it, and so they do get away with it. Anyway, I just had to stop and say that because it was on my mind.